Hello everyone, welcome you back to the science class. I hope you all are doing good. So dear students, as you all know that these days we are doing the chapter soil. We have discussed many topics under this chapter. Today also we shall be dealing with some of the topics. And before we get into the depth of those topics, let us revise or recapitulate what all we have done in the previous class. So in our previous class, we have discussed the differences between the different types of soils, that is sandy soil, clayey soil and loamy soil. So we have discussed a comparative account between the different types of soil. I hope you remember that. So today we are going to revise, or rather we are going to recapitulate some of the topics once again. But before that, let's look the objectives. So the objectives are to make the students understand about properties of soil and to make the students understand about soil and crops. So let's start with properties of soil. So now children, there are three different properties of soil. We are discussing about the soil in this chapter. We have come across different types of soil. Yes, we have come across the different properties of soil. So, we have come across different texture of the soil particles. We have discussed the different characteristics of different soil type. So today we shall be discussing about different properties of these soil. So the first property is moisture in soil. Means soil contains moisture. Moisture is the amount of water present in soil. So children, the amount of the amount of water which is present in the soil is called moisture, and during summer the water content in the soil evaporates and moves up, which reflects the sunlight. Thus the air above soil seems to shimmer. So during the summer season, the water which gets evaporates, it moves up and it reflects the sunlight, and as a result the air above the soil seems to shimmer. Now how we will find out that whether the soil is really containing this water? So there is one activity in your textbook. So as per the activity, it is said that we have to take some small sample of 2 or 3 spoon of soil in a test tube. Then what we are going to do, we will heat that test tube. Okay, we will heat the test tube. After some time we will find some water droplets which will be adhering to the inner side of the test tube, which will say that the soil contains water. Now the soil, the moment when we apply heat to the test tube, then what will happen? The soil, the water which is present in the soil, it will evaporate. It will evaporate, and we will find that at the top of the test tube we will find some water droplets. So how we have got those water droplets? The moment when these the vapor, when it comes in contact with the cool surface of the test tube at the top near the mouth of the test tube, that time what happens? The vapor gets converted into water droplets. So as a result we find the water droplets which adhere to the interior side of the test tube, which will tell us that the soil contains moisture. I hope you understood this property. Percolation rate of water in soil. This is the second property. Now before that we need to know what is percolation actually. So percolation is the property of absorption of water by soil. Means different soil absorb different amount of water, depending on their nature. So we know that there are different types of soil: sandy soil, loamy soil and clayey soil. So all these three different types of soil, they absorb different amount of water. So that absorption capacity of the soil is called percolation. Now if we pour a bottle of water on the floor and another bottle of water in the soil, the water on the floor will flow down, but the water in the soil will be absorbed. So it is 100% correct. If you will spill water over the cemented floor, it will not get absorbed very fast. But if you will do the same in the soil, then the water will get absorbed. So the percolation rate is the amount of water absorbed by any soil at any given time. So how we are going to find out the percolation rate? So it is nothing but the amount of water absorbed by any soil at any given time. So now let's discuss about the formula for calculating percolation rate. So you see children, here is the formula to find out the percolation rate. So this formula states that percolation rate is equal to amount of water in milliliter divided by percolation time. So we can understand this formula by doing one numerical. For example, if 200 ml of water is percolated through the soil sample in 40 minutes, calculate the rate of percolation. So the solution, what we are going to write, we are going to put these values here. Rate of percolation, as we all know, amount of water by percolation time. In this numerical, this 200 ml milliliter is nothing but water, and 40 minutes is the time span. So when we will divide these two, we will get 5 ml per minute. So the rate of percolation is 5 ml per minute. So you see children, different soil, they have different different soil have different tendencies to absorb the water. So depending on their nature, the rate of percolation will be different. Okay. So now next is absorption of water by soil. So different soil samples absorb water in different extent. The absorption of water by different soil can be found out by taking 50 gram of different soil samples. Now pour the soil in different funnels placed in different beaker and pour water in the soil with the help of measuring cylinder. So what you have to do, you have to take 50 gram of water, 50 gram of different soil sample. Then what you are going to do, you are going to take that funnel in the beaker, place the funnel on that beaker, and then in every beaker you are going to pour the different sample of soil. Okay. And then what we are going to do, we are going to pour the soil in different funnels placed in different beakers and pour water in the soil with the help of measuring cylinder. Then we have to take one measuring cylinder, we measure some amount of water, and then we need to pour in the different samples. So we have to continue until it starts dripping. Now check the amount of water left in the measuring cylinder and subtract it from the initial amount which was taken. So what we are going, what has to be done? Once the dripping starts, then we have to stop. We have to stop pouring the water. Then whatever amount of water left behind in the measuring cylinder has to be get subtracted with the amount of water with which we have started the experiment. So the resultant amount of water is retained by the soil. So how to find out this now? Formula to calculate percentage of water absorbed. So this is also very much important. So how we are going to find out that? So percentage of water absorbed, you can find it out by U minus V by 50 into 100. Now what is the meaning of this U and V? U is the initial volume. Okay. It is the initial volume of water which we have taken in the measuring cylinder. Say for example, we have taken 5 ml of water in the measuring cylinder and then we have started pouring it. Okay, so that initial value will be said as U, and V is the final volume of water. So once we used up whatever is left out in the measuring cylinder, that will be said as the V, that is the final volume. Now how to find out the percentage of water absorbed? So what you are going to do is, here you have to first subtract initial volume by the final volume. Okay, initial volume, you have to minus that, subtract that. U minus V, initial volume minus the final volume, and divided by 50. 50 is what? 50 gram was the amount of soil. And then since you have to find out the percentage, you have to multiply it by 100. And you will get the percentage of water absorbed by the soil. Okay. Next topic is soil and crops. So dear students, as you all know, different crops grows in different types of soil. Crops in soil are affected by the type of soil and also the climatic factors. Climatic factors such as rain, humidity, temperature, wind brings some changes in the structure of soil and hence affects the vegetation. For example, wheat and gram require clayey and loamy soil for growth. Rye cultivation is sandy loam soil. Paddy requires clayey and soil rich in organic matter which have a good water retention capacity. So you see children, different crops, they have different requirement. I mean different crops would grow in different types of soil, okay, as per their requirement. So paddy requires clayey and soil rich in organic matter which have a good water retention property. You must have seen the paddy fields, isn't it? So loamy soils are required to cultivate lentils and other pulses. So please remember, lentils and pulses are grown in loamy soil. Sandy loam soils which can hold large amount of water are ideal for the cultivation of cotton, potatoes and asparagus. Clayey soils are rich in humus and very fertile and hence ideal for the growth of rose and wheat. So we have seen all these examples, different types of soil, means different crops they grow in different types of soil as per their requirement. So I hope you have understood this. So let us summarize what all we have discussed today. We have discussed about properties of soil. We have discussed about soil and crops. So thank you so much for listening to me. Stay safe, stay healthy. See you in the next class.